have a look.
The texts that we have in the Hebrew Bible and the New Testament, but particularly in the Hebrew Bible, so Old Testament, were written over hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, and they've been reshaped and recrafted over time. But they're drawing on some of them are drawing on much older traditions and mythologies. And so the example that you gave, some Christians read into God saying, let us make man in our own image. They read into that the notion of the Trinity. The Trinity is not even really a proper notion in the New Testament, let alone, obviously, it's not in the Hebrew Bible at all. So, as I was saying, this God of Judaism and Christianity is a post-biblical creation. So the deity that we find reflected in these biblical texts is a deity who was very much part and parcel of a polytheistic system. He was not he wasn't this solitary deity. He was networked into a much broader household, if you like, of deities.
Okay, so this is the first one, and this is the next one.
So the deity that we find reflected in these biblical texts is a deity who was very much part and parcel of a polytheistic system. He was not he wasn't this solitary deity. We have one particular text in the book of Deuteronomy. It's a very old piece of almost like fossilized poetry that sort of speaks of a mythology whereby Yahweh, who becomes known as the God of Israel, the God of the Bible, was originally a son. He had a dad. His dad was El, the high god, who was, the high god in the Levantine part of the world. And originally, Yahweh was simply kind of one of that younger generation of deities, a son of a high god and high goddess. This particular deity eventually slowly starts to kind of take over a lot of the roles and functions of this high god. He basically, you could say, in theory, he kind of overthrows his own father, as is very typical in a lot of ancient mythology. So the deity...
You can see exactly what I'm talking about with this chick.
So the deity...
I actually noticed yesterday by accident that she's actually born 1975. She's actually almost same age as my parents anyways. Not that it makes much difference. She's still she was a kid in the 1980s. She's essentially that. You can see exactly what type of corruption I'm talking about. So you see, like, no makeup, a very full bookshelf behind her, a good vocabulary, a webcam, Aris of Velarde, that type of shit. And you are like, yeah, she's definitely not lying. Yeah, it figures. It figures because you have built the outside to be like proper design, I suppose. I don't know how to explain it. Like she didn't choose to film her crap in the toilet. You get what I mean? She didn't choose it to film it in the kitchen. She didn't choose it to film it in a graveyard. She chose to film it in front of her bookshelf. And if you're like, yeah, that's where her desktop is, that's irrelevant with what I'm saying. I also am in my room, and as a matter of fact, here is my bookshelf, and it is also that's the half of it. Okay. I have another one. I have this one as well. And I have another one as well there. So, all I'm trying to say, because there is, as I said, this one is a half one. I said it 2 times already. I have the rest of it is here, but it is covered by my things. So, what I'm saying is, I could also, if I wanted to present that I am somebody that reads, I could also film my shit in front of my 3 bookshelves. I'm not. I am playing Mario while I'm filming my shit because I don't care to appear knowledgeable. I don't care about that shit. I don't. It's not part of my image, right? I'm not trying to pose as something. If I am something, it's because I am. I'm not trying to put that forward and having people believe me because I appear knowledgeable. That's me. I play Mario while I'm debunking these shitheads. I'm not putting my, divine pretty much. Like, it has reached not divine in the sense of spiritual, in the sense of like you are not just having knowledge, you are having mythical knowledge. Like your knowledge is surpasses like the library in Alexandria, for example. That's the essence of of this woman and of people like her. They are filming their bullshit in front of the library, in front of a bookshelf, in front of like a, I don't know, relics or whatever, so they appear that they know their bullshit. It's part of a stunt. It's performance. It's not just performance. It's ridiculous. I can show you something so I can prove because I have talking about this woman again. I can show you what exactly I mean. So, well, this woman is named Sarah. Okay, her name is Sarah, and if you're like, Helga, obviously I know Sarah. Yeah, I obviously enough, that's Sarah, that divination witch. And if you haven't followed her on her socials, go do that. Yeah, I am an ex-mystic, I am a Christian, and I am telling you to follow a pagan. Yeah, because she's actually a very good person, and that's why I also watch her. Maybe I don't agree with what she says because I believe in a different deity. Maybe I have abandoned the faith that she is in, and I am an ex, pretty much, in her faith. But that doesn't mean that I can't see that this woman is actually a very good person, and that's why I watch her content, and that's why I analyzed what she said the other day, because I actually like her, like genuinely I like her. But I want you to see something. This is her most viewed video. This is it has 70k views. It's 2 years ago. Is Hekari calling? Discover the 5 signs of her presence. And I want you to see something. So Sarah has done like a minimum makeup. She's actually, as I can see, she's a fashion lover. She has a poster behind her, the magician. What is Sarah's channel? What is it? It's about magic. It's about witchcraft. It's about paganism. Of course, she's gonna put behind her like the green screen pretty much. She doesn't have, but I'm just explaining. Obviously, she's gonna have a green screen behind her that's gonna match the vibe of her channel. Obviously, that makes perfect sense, and I can show you once more. Here, that's her second most viewed video. 32k 1 year ago. Top 10 signs you have connection with Hecate. She has the logo of her channel, that divination, which that's her name. She obviously has that. I can see, like, Sarah, if you ever watch the video, do you love purple? You put purple many times in your videos. I think your favorite color is purple. She is using the themes of her channel. What is that? Like magic, paganism, mysticism, occult, demonology. That's part of her persona. That's part of her public image. So what is she doing? She's not putting Super Mario behind her, obviously, because she's talking about Hecate. And if you are like, Helga, you explain that Sarah does that because she's a pagan, and you explain that Francesca, because she has a PhD, she has a bookshelf behind her because she has a PhD and she wants to pose herself as knowledgeable. Why don't you do the same? Yeah, I'm putting Super Mario in contrast with all of them. I'm not putting Sarah in the same category with Francesca. In no way, I would never do that. She's not the same thing. I'm definitely sure because Sarah shares some views that Francesca is sharing, but the approach she has about spirituality has no connection with how Francesca is doing that. She's not when she's talking about my God, my dad, she says the same thing, that yes, it's fabricated, it's forged, it's later addition, it's bashing for my goddess and shit. She says these things, yes, but first she hasn't heard that from her deities. Why do you know that, Helga? Because I can distinguish when a person speaks from a spirit and when they speak from a human mind. She speaks what she has heard from people like Francesca. She's not saying something that she has heard about my God from her gods. That's what I'm explaining. That's the first. The second thing is that Sarah, when she says this bullshit, she's never attacking me. I never feel attacked. I just feel that she doesn't understand what my religion is about. Francesca is attacking my religion. I feel insulted when she speaks, and I can tell you at least 10 videos of Sarah where she says that the Bible is forged, that the Bible is fabricated, that it has added a shit inside of it, that the Abrahamic God is tyrannical, misogynistic, that he is forged by people who had daddy issues. She says all that crap, but I'm never feeling insulted by Sarah because Sarah has manners. She's very kind. She's a very good woman. That's why I watch her, and I actually have her. I have subscribed to her channel and I watch her content, not exactly daily, but when I have time, spare time for myself, I'm actually watching her. I really like her. Francesca is not doing that. Francesca is insulting, she is attacking, she's rude, she's impolite, she's pretty much a barbarian through and through, and that's crazy because Sarah, that's where I say I don't support the barbarian as a slur, but why I use it, because Sarah, for example, she's fully British, she's fully barbarian in Greek understanding, but she is so polite that Francesca, who is half barbarian, half Greek, she cannot match Sarah into that, and that's why I usually refrain from using the word barbarian, because in times like that you can see that God is laughing actually, and he is like, yeah, who is the barbarian? Like Francesca, who is a Greek and she's abusing her Greekness and she's behaving like a barbarian, or Sarah, who is a British? So therefore, for Greek understanding, she is a barbarian, but she's so polite, so such a civil person, so kind. Whenever she opens her video, like I'm sure I will hear her saying that. She says this thing, and that's what I'm saying. Like, can you match Francesca with this? No, obviously you can't. Obviously you can't. So,
you know, it's been a little while since I sat down and just spoke about my. You are, like I said, this is my safe space. Any question, feel free to ask. I try and help people on this channel, make videos to help people, answer questions, be down to earth. So yeah, hit subscribe if you like that. I do hope you stick around. I've also got a link tree below with a shop and a Patreon if you're interested in supporting me further. I offer readings and other things, so yeah, check it out. Thanks. Alright, 7 signs you are drawn to.
Sarah, I'm actually advertising her channel. What else do you want from me? And I'm actually in a different faith from you, darling. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so what I'm saying with all this crap is that, did you see how civilized and respectful she is? I don't feel attacked by her. I know that I'm gonna listen something that I will definitely disagree, but I don't feel attacked. I feel like I chat with a friend that I haven't met in real life online. Is Francesca anything of all this? No, I haven't heard Francesca a single time in her life not saying something that doesn't sound remotely sarcastic, like as if her default mode in her factory settings in her hardware is actually being sarcastic and ironic in everything. And that's crazy. It's crazy because she's almost 50, she's 49. Fuck my life. Fuck my life. My mother is 55. She has the same age as my mother. She has almost the same age as my ex. Okay? And Sarah is 35, I think. So, not exactly the same age, obviously. But she's so respectful and civil, and it is crazy. Why? Because Sarah is younger, she's closer to my age, and she's more respectful, she has more manners, and I'm saying that because usually people who are younger, you expect them to behave in a more ferocious manner, and older people be more civilized and being able to contain their anger and their emotions because they are experienced with life and they can content and have mouth control, self-control, self-restraint, and know how to use their mouth properly, and that comes with age and maturity that comes from age. And I haven't seen this either to Jose or to Francesca, and I don't think that's an issue with your age. I think that's an issue with the job that you are doing. You take a PhD and you think you become a deity pretty much, like as if it is like PH, like philosophy, and then D is like not doctor or anything, it's like deity. Like you have a philosophy degree in deityhood. how to become deity yourself. And that's what I see, because whenever you assholes open your mouths, you are always full of sarcasm, fake intellectuality, pseudo cleverness, anti-dialogue, full of nonsensical monologue. All of what you write, all of you down, is nonsensical through and through. You don't want to engage in a dialogue, even through the paper with your reader. You just want to appear clever, okay? You use words that you know nobody will be able to understand, so that you will be able to pose your inferiority complexes that you have. You project them on the reader, so the reader reads the difficult words and they will think that they are stupid just because you use clever words and they can't understand you. But in reality, you give inferiority complex to people that don't have any problems with themselves. You have problems with yourself, and you project your issues, your daddy issues, as Francesca says, onto other people. That's how you deal with your problems, and that's disgusting. Ze and Francesca and everybody out there, it's disgusting. And Andrew, if you ever watch this video, I'm talking about my teacher Andrew Haas. If you ever watch this video, doll, I just want you to know something. Just faking old structured paragraphs, like trying to appear like you come from an old document, an old like poetry book, or old like literature piece, like from a different era. That's what I mean. Writing long sentences as fuck, like a sentence long, that it is like a paragraph or two paragraphs or even half a page, separating everything with a comma and putting the semicolon, doesn't make you a Greek. I want you to understand what I'm saying. That's not making you a Greek. You are still a barbarian. You are just faking what my ancestors and what I do as Greeks themselves and as Greek myself. You still are a barbarian, and if you wanna worship my deities, feel free, take them if you want them. Like if you are like Yaga, I feel like your gods are mine, feel free to take them. You have the license from the entire Greece, because you framed us in my emails that I took from you that we are pagans. That's what you wrote. Okay, we are not pagans, bestie. We are Christians. We are Orthodox Christians. We are the mother country of Christianity. It's not the Rome, it's not the Vatican, it's not the UK, it's not Canada. It's the Greek territories, whatever belonged to Greece back in the days. That's the birthplace of Christianity. Okay, nothing else. And if you want to take our deities and you think that they belong to you and you want to worship them on behalf of the entire Greece, you can ask any Greek about that. Feel free to take all of them. Zeus, who was fucking women and men, and he was raping men and women in the mythology. Hera, who was the abused wife, who was hit by her husband Zeus many times. Apollo, who was striking with plagues the Greeks without explaining any reason. Artemis, who wanted women to be eternal virgins, exactly like goddess Athena. Ares, the god of war, who was starting wars without any reason. Okay. Hermes, who was taking people from their families by death and taking them to Hades. Hades, because he's ruling over the dead world and he's punishing people who were sinning while they were alive, and he was throwing them in fires and giving them torture, punishment, like exercises pretty much. Okay. Demeter, who refused to give crops to people because she lost her daughter because she married a guy, and because her daughter Persephone married Hades and she decided to go on in her life as a woman. She mourned that and she caused the winter and the autumn so that people wouldn't have crops and would starve, because she was mourning a woman that legit, an adult woman, decided to marry a guy and live with him. And all the other deities, like Dionysus, you spoke about Dionysus, right? Dionysus, the god of Bacchia, demon possession, the guy that deceived the king Pentheus, who thought that he was talking with a person. He was actually talking with Zeus, Zeus' son Dionysus, who was in Theophania. He was appearing as a human, but he was God fully. Okay, that's not Jesus. Jesus was incarnated. Dionysus wasn't. He was appearing as a deity. Okay, so he deceived Pentheus, and Pentheus went to his mother, who was in Bacchia. She was in the possession, the divine madness, the divine trance. She killed her son and she torn him into pieces. Take all these 12 deities and go to hell with them, Andrew. I don't care, and on behalf of the 11 million Greeks who are all Christian Orthodox from birth to death, we died with Christ, we are resurrected with Christ, and we did our rebellion in the 1821 for the sake of our faith. We said with Christ we will rebel and we will save our land from our slavery, because we were slaves during the 19th century. From the 15th century to the 19th century, we were slaves to the Ottomans. And we said we were going to save ourselves from slavery and from our oppressors because of our faith in Christ. Christ is who strengthens us, and the Virgin Mary is our Holy Mother. That's what we say. So if you want to believe that your gods my gods belong to you, they are not my gods. That's what I'm explaining. On behalf of the entire Greece, take all these deities and go to hell. That's what I'm gonna say. And just because you fake full sentences separated with commas and semicolons pretending to be a Greek, that doesn't make you a Greek. You are still from Ontario, Quebec, I don't know where the fuck you are, from Canada. You are still from Canada. You're not gonna become a Greek. And if you want to become a fully pagan because you are still a very bad mystic, I just want to tell you, respect the Greeks that wrote the texts. Hesiod, Plato, Aristotle, Homer, all these people, because you are not respecting them. You don't respect them. What you do when you are speaking is blaspheming their deities. You are saying stuff that they are not found in the texts. And what you are doing is actually pretty insulting in terms of the religion of paganism in Greece. If you were in Athens back in the days, in Athens, and they heard you speaking, they would say you are inserting new deities in the city, and you would be executed like Socrates was executed. That's what would be happening to you if you were in Athens 5th century BC. That's all I'm gonna say. So what I'm gonna do with this video now, I don't have any chocolate because I'm fed up. I don't wanna eat any more stuff. I ate a sausage pie. I'm full, but I have some strawberry juice and I'm very keen to drink that. I have some cola. I have my coffee. I'm gonna, because she spoke about if my father is a pagan deity, she says that he had a daddy. Okay, so we speak about Zeus having a father that is Saturn, Cronus. Okay, I'm not gonna repeat. Watch the previous video. I explained very well what the theogony is about. Jupiter, Zeus had a father named Saturn, Cronus. He actually wanted to kill everybody. Zeus survived. He took the throne and all that crap. And Francesca says that actually my father is Zeus and he has a daddy who is Cronus, Saturn. And yes, in the Babylon Canaanite pantheon, the equivalent we have there is El. That's the equivalent of Cronus. That's alleged information. I'm saying this for you, Ze, because whenever I was saying this is the equivalent deity, you were struggling to understand what I'm talking about. We Westerners have equivalents for it in civilization. So Saturn is the same deity as Cronus. Cronus is the same deity as El. That's universal Western knowledge. That's not something that I made up. I came up with. That's not something I made up. It's something that is factual. Read your bullshit, as I always tell you. Okay, so I'm gonna continue from here playing the game. So I actually found the video. I stopped to edit a little bit. I made some errors when I was speaking, and I usually, when I am editing my videos, I am like inserting I don't know how to describe it. Like, let's say I make a grammar error or whatever, or I say something that I didn't mean it exactly that, and I want to paraphrase myself. I am saying it again in the next minute, so I can actually carry in the CapCut when I am editing. And if you notice, at some frames, I think I usually do it only 2 or 3 times. Usually I don't do edit. I am trying to be very specific with what I'm saying and not make any mistakes, because editing takes too much time, at least with me, because I'm not trained professionally with the computer. It's not something that I am like, I don't know how to do it like by heart, pretty much. I don't know how to say it, and it's difficult for me to do that. So I mean, it's time consuming. I'm also self-taught. I'm teaching myself through Copilot, through YouTube videos, and I'm doing that for many years. I'm still learning. I'm trying to learn as much as I can. I don't really like computers, to be fair, and technology, but at the same time, I don't want to be a person not of my age, pretty much. So, yeah. Um, well, I'm gonna put the video. The video is a very big one. It's 30 minutes. It's called The Entire Story of the Trojan War Explained. I'm not quite sure if it is a good one or not. It's from the Life Guide. Copilot gave it to me, but it has chapters, and the first chapters are some of the things that I have covered. So it is the Trojan War, the suitors of Helen, the judgment of Paris, the Greeks assemble, the start of the Iliad. So the Iliad, the story that you read in the Homeric poem, because about Paris, all that we saw yesterday about the goddesses, the Paris being married to Inoni, being raised in a different culture, or not culture, different family, and Ekavi, his mother, receiving a prophecy, the interpretation, what Zeus did, and so on. All this stuff, yes, they are the canon, pretty much how the story goes, but they are not written down in the Iliad itself. They are other stories and from other texts or other oral traditions, but this is how the story goes for a Greek. And if you are like, how do you know that if it is extra, like extra Homeric, as if we say extra biblical? That's how Greek culture works. That's how my culture works. That's what I'm saying. If you wanna learn how my deities work, how Christianity works, you have to learn it how we do it, how it is embedded in the mind of the people. We are not Hebrews. That's another story as well, because I said the other day that the Bible is history and the Greek myths are mythology, and they are not the same thing. And I said this is alligator, this is crocodile. Yes, because it says also in the Bible the Hebrews want how is that called? The Greeks want wisdom. I know how to say it in Greek. Οι Έλληνες θέλουν σοφία, οι Εβραίοι ζητούν σημείο. The Greeks need wisdom. The Hebrews need a sign. Is that correct? Okay, it is First Corinthians chapter 1 verse 22. It says the Greeks need wisdom, the Hebrews need signs. So the Hebrews want always something to verify the claim. So for the Jew require a sign, and the Greeks seek after wisdom. It's very much how our civilizations are built. We are Mediterraneans, but we operated in a different wavelength. So what this means is that for a Greek, the reading of the myth, doesn't have to be just written down. It has to have wisdom. So as long as it has wisdom, we don't care if it is actually written in the story by Homer, or if Homer used a ghostwriter, or if the ghostwriter was actually his disciple, or the disciple was actually his trans daughter or whatever. We don't care about that. That's not how my civilization works. We need wisdom. As far as the text is wise, we don't care about the details. That's what I say. The Bible, yes, the Bible is part of my civilization. I will explain what I mean. The Bible is required sign. So that's why I say it is history. The Hebrews didn't walk by wisdom. So what we Greeks were doing, like taking our texts and like saying, okay, the Iliad speaks about the war of Troy in the 10th year of the war, so we don't have anything about the 9 previous years, how it started, what happened with the wedding, with Zeus picking Paris to select a date, and all that is outside of the story. That is crazy for a Hebrew understanding, because the Hebrew would be like, how do you know? The Greek thinks that this is barbaric way of thinking, however, like how, like the Hebrew wants a sign. That's barbarian way of thinking for a Greek, because a Greek is like, just because you have a sign, that doesn't mean that it has wisdom, and the story, even if it is not written down, it has wisdom, so we don't care if it is actually written or if it is all orally preserved. Okay, so that's a difference in the culture, as I say. I'm not saying that the Hebrews don't have oral tradition. Obviously, every tradition has oral. Every culture has oral tradition. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you a diagram. That's a diagram for non-Greeks, non-Hebrews, so they understand how our civilizations operate. We operate a little bit different, and the Hebrews are very meticulous with genealogies and shit. So that's why they wrote down Adam gave birth to Stephen, Stephen gave birth to Maria, Maria gave birth to John, John was the father of George, and George was the father of Stephen number 2, and so on. And you read them and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? Yeah, because the Hebrews are meticulous, and it is crazy to see people like Francesca from Britain, which is a nation very much later addition in the Western society, pretty much. Like the British are half Germans, half Scandinavians, as far as I know. I know that English people are Saxons. Saxons come from Germany, and I know that Scottish come from Scandinavia. Sometime in the ancient times, the people from Scandinavia migrated for winter ice age reasons towards the south, and they settled in Scotland and whatever, Ireland, and like the western banks of the mainland Europe. That's what I know. That's what I have read. I'm not an expert. That's not part of some things that I had studied at the uni. I studied them for my leisure, for my hobby. I just learned that. So these civilizations are later additions in the European continent. The Hebrews are much older. They are all as old as the Greeks, pretty much, and the Egyptians as well. You get what I mean? So the fact that a British person comes and says that's not a historical fact, when for a Hebrew, not only it is a historical fact, it's like they did history before the British people even existed, and you have British people coming and saying, no, that's not history. Okay, teach me. It's insulting. It's very insulting. I feel that, like, if a Hebrew reads that and he feels threatened and attacked and insulted and offended and all that jazz, I feel that. I really feel the pain. It's really there. It's there, right there. Okay. As I said, they require a sign. That's why they wrote down everything, that this guy was the father of this guy, of this guy, of this guy. No, they are not mythological people, because the Jewish, as I read in Paul, these people require signs. They want evidence. That's what it means. You can see that even in the Old Testament law, the Mosaic law, that God said you will bring 2-3 witnesses for somebody that has done something. You won't just execute them with one voice. You will do that with 2 and 3 people, and you will verify the claim. This is embedded in the culture of the people in the Israelites. Okay, so that's not Greek. It's not Greek. The Greeks have oral tradition. They have the story by Homer. Somebody, Stephen, let's take Stephen again. That's the scapegoat here, Stephen. Stephen decides to add that actually Zeus had a trans sister. She was actually half a titaness, half a goddess. She was born a woman, she became a man. She had black hair. She dyed it pink. The hair dye didn't match her skin color. She decided to go and bleach her hair, and then she died. That if you think that's crazy, this is how Greeks say stories. They say stories, somebody fabricates a story, we hear it and we decide if it has wisdom or not, and we deal with it and we add it in the other story, even if it was not added in the beginning. It's oral tradition, and pretty much there is a possibility that even Homer didn't brainstorm the Iliad. It was just a story that was said, and he just said, okay, let's write it down, and he just wrote down one of the versions, because we have other extra Homeric sources that have like variations of the myth, like not exactly variations, I don't know how to explain it, details, like for example, the Homeric Iliad ends with the burial either of Achilles or of Hector. I'm not quite sure whose burial. How does Homer Iliad end? I will explain. Okay, the funeral of Hector and the guy who was killed by Achilles. This is how it ends. It doesn't end with the burning of Troy. It ends with the burial of Hector, one of the Trojans. So what happens after with the Trojan horse and the burning of Troy with Odysseus' plan and all that shit is actually additions later, earlier, from another tribe in Greece, from somebody else, another author, another storyteller, another bard, another philosopher maybe, if they talked with Zeus. Okay, so you have many variations, and also you have, for example, Paris has different endings in variations of the story. So the story says that Troy was burnt. That's a universal truth. You don't have any other ending in that. But you have many endings how the story went. One story says that Paris went back to Inoni, and Inoni wasn't waiting for him. The other story says that he went back to her, but he succumbed to his wounds, and she saw him, she wanted to cure him, she couldn't, she hanged herself. I know the most canon story usually is that she was very angry with him when she saw him with his wounds, and she said, go to your hell and to cure you. Why did you come to me? Just because I promised you I would cure you, that doesn't mean I would do that. Go back to her, go fuck yourself, essentially. That's what she said. And he died by his wounds, and then she regretted her actions and she killed herself. Usually she dies herself too, but that's debatable. Some stories say that she married another guy, some other stories says that she killed him, like he returned to her for a curing, and she killed him for retaliation because he let her go. There are many variations of the story, that's what I say. So in all the stories, yeah, he dies. Some stories say that he died even in Troy and he never went back to her, and she waits for him to this day. Yeah, gloomy, I know. So there are many variations. So why are all of them preserved and no Greeks said, okay, let's pick one to have this one? Because this is not how Greek culture actually operates. That's what I say. For example, Odysseus also has different endings. He has 2 different endings. According to Homer, Odysseus becomes the king again of Ithaca. He reclaims his kingdom. He kills the lovers of Penelope, and he kills the lovers of Penelope, and then he actually, with the help of goddess Athena, he goes back to his wife and he reveals himself to her because she can't recognize him because there have been many years. It's been 20 years since he last saw him. He was in his 20s, he was my age, and now he's basically your age, 40 something. And he tells her that he actually made her bed from a tree, so the tree actually doesn't move in the room. It's embedded in the floor because it's made from a tree that has roots on the ground. She asks him, can we move the bed to another direction? What a normal discussion, I know, very normal discussion. Like, you see your husband after 20 years that he was in war, he killed your lovers, the people that wanted to marry you, basically, they weren't her lovers, and she's like, yeah, can we actually change the interior design in the palace? Yeah, it makes sense, I know, but anyways, Greek way of thinking, I suppose. And Odysseus says we can't do that because the bed is embedded in the floor. I carved the wood of the tree and I made it a bed, so that can't move. That can't be movable. And she says, "You are my husband," and they basically kiss and they say they will never be separated again. And that's how the story ends, according to Homer. But there is also another very unhinged, in my opinion. Like, when I learned about this story, I said to myself, this is the most unhinged shit ever. That after 20 years or something, like after 20 years of the 20 years, so if Odysseus was 40, let's say when he was 60, pretty much, okay, according to this source, I don't remember who the fuck that person was, but anyways, who said that story, like who wrote it down. But according to this story, Odysseus actually had a son with Circe, that is a witch that he encountered in his voyages to go back to Ithaca when he was traveling in the sea. He basically saw let's start playing as I'm speaking. So he basically, like, he had a son, he fathered a child with Circe, that's a witch that he encountered in the voyages that he did, as I said. And he, I like that. Can I put that as a, fuck my life, will I, yeah. Okay. So, I'll put that as a thumbnail. So, he encounters this, woman, this witch, pretty much. She's like, even like, I'm trying to say something, and then I remember that even that is one of the versions. Like, as I said, Greek stories are versions of a story, so it's every tradition in every place in Greece, pretty much. Like I am an Athenian, I know one version. If somebody was born in another city or in another village, probably they will know another story. And when we will speak about it, we will have differences. You get what I mean? And no, that's not crazy for my civilization. It's normal. It's not that somebody is wrong or somebody is like right. We don't have that about our mythology. I'm still speaking about paganism here. It's not wrong, it's actually about wisdom. That's what Paul says in the First Corinthians, that we are after wisdom. If the story has wisdom in it, we keep it. If it doesn't have wisdom, we discard it, even if it sounds accurate historically speaking. We don't care about that. That's how my civilization works, according to the pagan aspect. I mean, the pagan, I'm differentiating here the Bible. I was speaking a moment for the Bible. So even Circe has many different variations herself. Some story says that she was a deity, she was an immortal. Some say that she was the daughter of Perseus. Perseus, as I have said, is a titan. And in some stories, he's actually the brother of Circe and he's a human. And yeah, there is no exact distinction if he is the same titan from the stories or if he's another person with the same name and he's like similarity, like namesake and so on. You get what I mean? And some other stories says that she was a human, but she was a witch. Some other stories say that she was an immortal witch, so that she was a goddess, but she was a witch at the same time. So there are many variations even for Circe. That is also, you can find her, like, she has a story of herself, a feministic Western and nothing to do with my culture, Circe, and the Song of Achilles are the feministic modern stories, and Song of Achilles, so that's the books. So there are two of them, Circe and the Song of Achilles. That's Western American literature. I didn't really like that, but I appreciate the love that the author, when I'm saying I didn't like it, I mean the story is irrelevant with my culture through and through. Madeline Miller, thank you for the appreciation, but nothing to do with my culture. She has written that Achilles had a relationship with Patroclus, and many Westerners today believe it. That's completely irrelevant with my culture, and there are many Westerners actually who say that Patroclus and Achilles could have a relationship and that it is hinted in the Homeric. No. That's, I don't know why they say that Greeks were gays and they were open gays. That's what I mean. Not that they didn't have the sexuality that's inherent in every person, obviously, but that the fact that they said that they promoted gay relationship and shit, that's irrelevant with my culture. People in Greece were never promoting such things. They were either Puritans or monks. That's part of my culture. Like, marry, have kids, or become an eunuch for a deity. That's how Greeks rolled back in the days. That's nothing, no parades, no gay parades, nothing like that. That's irrelevant. I don't know why they say these things. I still try to understand, pinpoint why they say these things. I have no idea, honestly. But I appreciate the love about my stories anyways. I have to say that, like, she did an effort to bring them to life and make them better, because I honestly don't like the Homerics. I prefer the modern stories that other authors give from my stories, like the Song of Achilles, like having Circe having a female essence, and like Odysseus becoming a romantic figure and shit. I prefer that than the original ones, honestly. So that's what I'm saying. So I was speaking about Circe. Circe, in one of the variations, this one that I'm speaking about, that it's 20 years after Odysseus reclaims back his throne, we learned that Circe had actually a son when he met her in his voyages and he stayed in her island. Her son with Odysseus is named Telegonos. Where is your accent, Helga? Telegonos. And basically speaking, Telegonos, that's a name that means telephone. That's the same. Tele, that means from afar. So gonos means son. Gonos means like birth. It means son. So it's the son from afar. That's Telegonos. That's the name. Where is my accent? And he actually tries to find his father, and he goes to Ithaca, and he actually, what a surprise, usually this doesn't happen in myths, right? See Oedipo saw his father and he didn't recognize him. The same thing here. Telegonos doesn't recognize Odysseus, and he kills him in a quarrel. And he says, like, I'm searching for my dad. He kills him by accident. He doesn't recognize he's actually his father. And what happens next is unhinged, and even some Greeks say that this is unhinged. Actually, Circe marries Telemachos. Who is Telemachos? Telemachos, like says the same name. Tele means afar. Machos, battle. It means he fights from afar. That's the son that Odysseus had with Penelope. He's the prince, he's the king of Ithaca pretty much. So Odysseus dies, Telemachos becomes the king of Ithaca. He marries Circe, and Telegonos marries Penelope. That's one of the instances that we have problems in the myths with intermarriage inside families and shit, and yeah, it's an unhinged myth. The most standard version is the one that Odysseus receives from the prophet / seer Tiresias from Hades when he visits the underworld. That's in Odyssey. He learns from Tiresias that at some point he has to do something about the deities. He has to because he's fucked up with Poseidon, something like that, with the sea. He has to take how's that called? I don't know the word, sorry, give me a moment. How's that called? Kupi. How do you say that in Greek? In Greek I know how to say it, in Greek I don't know how to say it. Or, okay, so that's or. I have no the fuck idea what the fuck this is. So that's the one. That's the one that I'm calling. So this item that you use in a boat to move it, right? Odysseus had to take one of these and take it in a mountain city in Greece that they didn't know what the sea is, which is crazy because in Greece everybody knows sea, like my country is pretty much surrounded by sea, and he had to show it to them, and I don't really remember what exactly was the context, so if they didn't, okay, I remember, so he had to go and ask them what is this, and if they said this is for example a yo-yo, they didn't say that it is like this thing, they didn't identify it as a noir, if that's the word. If they didn't know, he had to plant it in there and sacrifice to the deities, to Zeus pretty much, thank Zeus for this miracle, because he will tell them what she is, and he said if you do that you will die in old age in your bed if you do that, but if you don't you will die by a sword, something like that. But he had to do it. That was like a, as we call it in Greece, tama. Tama is when you actually have issues with a deity, you have done like a purchase with a deity, you have done a deal with a deity, like you have like a deity helped you at some point. They even have it in Christianity in Greece. Yeah, unhinged. I know. I don't like that. So you ask God to do you a favor, and because God did the favor, you have to pay him back. Yeah, it's demonic. Obviously, I don't agree when Christians do that, but it's called tama. That thing is called tama in Greek. So if you ask, for example, Zeus to take you home in Ithaca, and Zeus helped you do that, you had to pay him back, and if you didn't, he could kill you as well. So you had to pay him. It's pretty much an exchange, right? And yeah, that's why my dad the other day made fun with money and shit, because he knows that if somebody reads that, he will think of this crap. They won't understand that he's actually making fun of such doctrines and shit, you know. So that's the other variation of the myth, and the story actually goes with Homer that this is what actually happened. Like Odysseus did what Zeus asked him to do, the prophecy, and he died in an old age, but we don't know the details. But the other story is that he was killed by his son. So yeah, this is how my tradition actually rolls. That we are basing everything in tradition, how the story is narrated by others orally. We don't care about scripture pretty much. That's Hebrew understanding, and now I'm going into the depth of it. So that's why the Hebrews are so consistent with genealogies and shit. That's why they are so meticulous in First Kings, Second Kings, all these books in the Old Testament, like this guy gave birth, this guy, that guy, and so on. This is the reason why they do that. Like in this year of that year, in that month, that was the king. That king was the son of that king. Then Jeremiah said that God told him this. And if you're like, why they make all this before they say Jeremiah has to say a prophecy, it's because they are historical documents for the Hebrews. They have a different approach. So that means that this is history, and I'm going now at the very deep end of it. That's why Greeks believed in Jesus easily, because they saw the difference. They saw the vast difference. They saw that we actually deal with a deity that is actually a historical figure, because he has genealogy, and that comes from a nation that we know that deals with history. It doesn't deal with wisdom of myths, pretty much the storytelling. They say stories that are actually factual, because that's how they deal with their everyday life. So giving them lies and saying that they have lied, that they have forged it, it's an insulting shit to say for their civilization, because their entire civilization is built about chronicles and building history and building documents, documentation upon documentation, and science upon science. And that's why we Greeks believed in Jesus, because we saw that there is actually a guy that was born by a woman and a man, and these people had ancestors and they are humans, and this person is a deity, and we had factual things to say about him, and we believed that because we didn't have to deal with wisdom, we had to deal with history, and we said, okay, we switch allegiance now. And that's how it became part of our culture as well, and that's why we changed a little bit how we see stuff. But that doesn't mean that we abandoned our stories. We keep them, but they are part of our literature today. Pretty much mythology means literature pretty much in Greece. We don't treat the stories anymore as factual. We don't treat not factual as wisdom bearers or anything. We just say them to have fun. Sometimes we might extract something that we might find wise, but we don't deal with them as theological things anymore. Our theology is only based entirely on the Bible. We don't rely on the pagan texts anymore about that. Yes, some people do it. I'm saying about the exception, but it's the exception. The Orthodox Church doesn't rely at all on these books. The Orthodox Church says that they are demonically inspired, that we shouldn't touch them. I saw them in the channel of Geron Nectarios the other day. These books are philosophers. They aren't in any manner connected with Old Testament and New Testament, and we only rely on the Bible. So if we say these stories, we say them for fun, for entertainment. We don't seek wisdom and theology anymore from there. If we want theology, we have the Bible for that as Greece. So that's our history, and the other thing is our literature pretty much today. But in the ancient times, it was our wisdom, it was our theology, and that's why Paul said the Greeks want wisdom, the Hebrews want signs, because back in the days of Paul, we speak about 2000 years ago, Christianity was starting to emerge in the Greek territories. So obviously what I'm saying today wasn't achieved back in the days of Paul. It was starting to become a reality. Today it is a reality because they have been 2000 years, as I said. So hope this explains. Today I'm gonna listen with you the stories of the story that comes from the Iliad, pretty much the Iliad, and we will listen to it. I don't know if I will become tired and I will stop the recording and shit, but I attend the start of the Iliad, so they have it, all of it. So I will try to listen until the death of Hector, or probably even the Trojan horse or the fall of Troy. I don't know how much, but I will try my best. It's not a big one, so let's get started. I just went and took my chocolate. Yep. Helga, how many do you eat of these? I could eat forever. I usually eat about half one of them per day. So that's half today and half tomorrow. So tomorrow you will see this flipped, like the other half. So that half will be gone. That's how much I eat. I don't eat too much. Not that I'm not doing that for any specific diet oriented reasons. I'm just doing it. So I have my juice. I have my phone. I actually showed everything right, didn't I? So let's press on controller. Let's connect this. Okay. Yeah. Cola with Mario is always a better cola. Did you see him? Yep, my Mario boy. And I have my coffee as well, but I've showed that already. And I know nobody asked, but I have my cream as well. What is that? That is for white soft paraffin, light liquid paraffin, anhydrous lanolin. For dry flaky skin, eczema, itchy skin, dry psoriasis, I hope it's pronounced, yeah, it's actually a Greek word, psoriasis, and sunburn. I have dry skin and I'm using that in my hands. Yeah, I don't have an eczema or whatever, I know, no. Let's put the video. So I'm gonna put the story of Iliad. If I have anything to comment, I will, but you will hear the story because the point today for the session is to explain. She said, like, our Aris of Velar, the female version, Francesca Stavrakopoulou, and somebody said that her name is very difficult to pronounce. Is it? Stavrakopoulou. That actually means that she is the daughter of like Stavrakopoulos, so that's what her name means actually in a Greek context. So when you say Ulu, it's the son, the daughter, sorry, of the guy that you name. So it's like pretty much like Stevenson. So you say Stevenson, and who is Stevenson? He is the son of Stephen, right? That's the logic behind it. When you see a woman having OU as a name, that means that she's the daughter of the guy that you see on the name. You get what I mean? But that doesn't mean anything. Like the guy, her father is not obviously named like that. That's a surname. But I'm just explaining the logic behind it. So Stevenson, Richardson, it's the son of Richard, right? That's how it works. So her name is pronounced Stavrakopoulou. Okay. So all together, Stavrakopoulou. That's how you say it. It's not that difficult. It's not that difficult once you learn a little bit about Greek pronunciation. So she said that Yahweh is actually Zeus and his father is El, aka Cronus, right? Let's listen the Iliad and let's see if we can link anything, if we have anything to discuss, if I have anything to say, no, that's how demons work or anything. Helga, are you prepared for that? No, I'm not. That's why I always say my videos are always live. I play my game, I listen my video, and I react in real time. I'm just selecting how's that called? Relevant material. That's what I'm doing. Okay. So let's get started. The war begins the start of the Iliad. So that's Homer, as I said.
For 9 long.
The previous sections of the video, maybe we can watch them another day, I don't know. The previous sections of the video are what we discussed yesterday about Iliad, Paris and Zeus and the gods and the wedding and Helen and all that crap. All that is the previous section of the video. So we are now discussing Iliad by Homer, not the background of Iliad. So all we said yesterday about Paris and shit, all that, yes, they are referenced in Iliad. If you are wondering what the fuck, yes, they are referenced, but they are not written down. There are other sources, and obviously as a Greek you know them, but you just don't read them in Homer. Okay, so now we read only, we go only about the Iliad, the text itself. Okay,
Long years.
and let's go back a little bit. Okay, let's open my chocolate as well. I think they have done a good job, but let's see.
For 9 long years, the Achaeans would attack Troy, with wave after wave, failing to break the city's impenetrable walls. But with resources running short, Achilles would lead Greece's armies south, searching for supplies, gold, and women. They would first take the island of Lesbos, before landing on the shores of Asia Minor, pillaging all the towns and cities they came across as they made their island of Lesbos, before landing on the shores of Asia Minor, pillaging all the towns and cities they came across as they made their way back up to Troy. From the cities of Lyrnessus and Hippoplacia, the Greeks would take many beautiful women as slaves, with Briseis being awarded to Achilles, and Chryseis given to Agamemnon.
Yeah. Cold start, hot finish. You found a new soundtrack, check it out at the museum. What he says is factually correct. Let's continue listening.
Of Lesbos, before landing on the shores of Asia Minor, pillaging all the towns and cities they came across as they made their way back up to Troy. From the cities of Lyrnessus and Hippoplacia, the Greeks would take many beautiful women as slaves, with Briseis being awarded to Achilles, and Chryseis given to Agamemnon, 2 women that would change the course of the war.
Βρυσιίδα, Χρυσιίδα. as I said earlier, Stevenson and Ulu, right? The endings of the words. I have no idea where the fuck I am going, by the way. Βρυσιίδα, Brises, he calls her. Βρυσιής in ancient. Βρυσιίδα in modern. It's called Brises, Βρυσιής. Βρυσιίδος, that's Βρυσιίδος, like, whose book is that? This book is of Βρυσιίδος. That's declension again, it's a genitive. Brises, Βρυσιής is nominative. It's like, how do you call her? Hey, Βρυσιής. So that's how you call her. So you say, hey, Βρυσιής, and she turns and says what? You get what I mean? And Βρυσιίδος is, this book belongs to Βρυσιίδος. You get what I mean? From genitive, usually you have the modern equivalent. So when you hear something that has definitely δου, like Βρυσιίδα, okay, it's like in Greek syntax, Greek syntax, it comes from genitive, and the nominative is a little bit different. There are many such endings, so dhu is one of them. I don't remember all of them by my heart because I haven't revisited the rules for about 5 years. I remember I used to say 5 years, now they are almost 10 years basically. That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. It's 8 years since I last saw these rules. I was 17, I'm fucking 25, almost 10 years, right? Okay, fuck my life. Creon is creodas. That's because it goes creon, creodos. So you have creodas in modern. So that's exactly the same rule that applies. So they called him Creon. That's why I write him down Creon in the story. His name is Creodas in modern, Creon in ancient. So that's why they have it like that in English. Usually they preserve the ancient form in English. I don't know why. I have no idea why they do that. I'm just saying that they do. As Greeks, we know that, and yeah. Chemical imbalance, you found a new charo, check it at the museum. Okay, thank you. So that's what I'm saying, and we know that as Greeks, and it's very easy for us easier to learn how to oh my god, I lost that, right? Okay, let's go back. Oh, defeat all. Do I have to come here? As peekaboos weren't bad enough, this abyss is infested by boos. I can sense their presence. Okay, get too close and they will chase you. Then when it's their turn, they will teleport you to another location of the battlefield. Okay, hold on a second. I will quit and I will start again because I wanted to check that place. Okay, so that's what I will do, and then I will come back. What I was saying, okay, Βρυσιίδα, her name means the daughter of Vrisis, by all means. I'm just trying to pinpoint exactly the topic of the verb and the adjective and the noun. That's how we call it topic of a verb, of a noun, over a word in general, like adjective, whatever. This is the unchangeable part of the word, that when you do declension, you do a derived word, pretty much. It doesn't change. Or you take a verb and you put it in a different tense, that part doesn't change in Greek. It's unchangeable. You call it topic, yeah, like dissertation topic, pretty much. That's how you call it. It's thema, issue, topic. Okay, so when you are a Greek, so I call Βρυσιίδα, the ending ida, that means she's the daughter in ancient Greek. That's ancient Greek. She's the daughter of a guy, and the guy probably is called Vrisis. How do you know that, Helga? It's my native language, that's why I make this assumption. It's not a modern name that we have. Chryseida is the daughter of a guy named Chrysis. Chrysis, that means golden, Chrysis. Her father was the priest of Apollo. His name was Chrysis. It's pretty much how we make our names in modern Greek. But his daughter is named Chryseida, Chryseis. So that's her name, because it derives from her father. And Zeus has also such a name. He's called Cronidis. Cronidis means the son of Cronus. Cron is the unchangeable form of the adjective. It's pretty much an epithet, okay? And Idis, that means he's the son, because is as an ending, not the. It's not Cronida. If it was Cronida, that would mean she is the daughter of Cronus, okay? Cronida. Cronidis is male, is masculine, it's the son of Cronus. So the is Chryseida, Vriseida, that's daughter. The A symbolizes daughter, female, that the, okay? So this is son. And where the fuck am I going? I have to go here. Okay. Okay. No, thank you. What the heck? No? Okay. I go here. So that's what I'm saying about the names. Hope like this clarifies something. Okay.
Given to Agamemnon, 2 women that would change the course of the war. Having taken Chryseis as a concubine, Agamemnon would fall deeply in love with her. However, her father, a priest of Apollo, was not happy with his daughter being taken as a slave,
Exactly.
and so travelled to Agamemnon's camp.
Mm-hmm.
He would offer the king gold and silver in exchange for his daughter, but Agamemnon refused the offer, taunting the old man by pointing at Chryseis chained to his bed. Apollo, disgusted at the way his priest had been treated, would send a plague of arrows upon
What the
the
fuck
Greek
did he
armies.
say?
So Agamemnon, 2 women that would change the course of the war. Having taken Chryseis as a concubine, Agamemnon would fall deeply in love with her. However, her father,
Sorry, I don't
2
get what he
women
says.
that would change the course of the war. Having taken Chryseis as a concubine, Agamemnon would fall deeply in love with her. However, her father, a priest of Apollo, was not happy with his daughter being taken as a slave, and so travelled to Agamemnon's camp. He would offer the king gold and silver in exchange for his daughter, but Agamemnon refused the offer, taunting the old man by pointing at Chryseis chained to his bed.
So, what I was thinking to say, I'm actually trying to find where the fuck I was before, but I don't understand where the fuck I am now. Does that make any sense? Wait a second. Did I go very back and that's why I'm suffering this? I think I went very far away, further back. Peekaboo, tell me I did that. Yeah, I did that. Fuck my life. Let's do again the level because I pressed a wrong button. What an asshole. Fuck my life. Okay, yeah, we know that we saw them in the previous video. Thank you. Okay, So, for my father, what Agamemnon did is not a mistake. But Helga, she's a slave. I didn't say that he would agree with how Agamemnon let her be a slave. I don't say that. I say that the fact that he took her, he found her from a different, like a civilization, like a different tribe, right? He found her beautiful, he took her. That's part of the Mosaic law. If a man found a woman and he wanted her as his wife, I can't speak, he was allowed to take her, but she had to do specific shits in order to be okay with the community and with God. So she had to stop being a pagan herself. She had to cut her nails, mourn her father for, like, not mourn her father like her father died, not in that sense, but in the sense that she was no longer living with her parents. She escaped, like, as we say it, the family nest, as we say in Greece, and now she would be with her rightful husband. So that's what he means there, and then she would be with this man. That's in the Mosaic law. And my father wouldn't have any issues with Agamemnon having Chryseida as his wife, because that's found in the Mosaic law. The only problem he would have, and he would try to deal with it obviously, he would tell him, just tell her, cut your hair. I'm not saying, like, my father is not a crazy person. He wouldn't tell her become bald. Yeah, I know it says shave your hair, and I know my dad, he's not crazy. I'm just explaining here for every Francesca Stavrakopoulou out there who frames my father as a psychopath. My father is not psychopath. That's what I'm saying, okay? The psychopath is Zeus, and if you watch my channel and you worship Zeus, that's not about you. I have insane respect about you, because I used to worship the same person, and that's why I call him a psychopath. He used to be my god, okay? But your god and my ex-god is a psychopath. We have to admit that with each other at some point. He advises us not to eat meat, to eat bones and fat. He advises us to go to war, or he will not take us to heaven. He speaks about reincarnation and matrix. We have to admit to each other without fear that our god, my ex-god, and your current god is a psychopath. We must remove any fear of addressing this point, because that's the truth. That's what I'm saying, okay? Anyways, what I'm saying here is that can I go close to this person here? Okay, I can, okay. Fuck you, oh my god, oh my, fuck, oh, critic, fuck my life, oh my god, oh my, I can't do nothing, fuck off, I can't do anything, okay, fuck, okay, I can't do anything, oh, okay. Hold on a second. So what I'm saying is that my father would tell this girl, look, cut your hair. Many women from these traditions used to have long hair. Have you seen, like, people like how are these people called? I forgot the name. Mennonites, right? Amish Mennonites. right? Yeah, Mennonites and Amish, they keep their hair long. So you see such traditions. Yeah, my father speaks about such people, but such people that live long hair for religious reasons, not for aesthetic reasons. So he would say to such a woman who would have a hair that it is impractical even for her to sustain it, do a very nice haircut, like do some layers, cut your bangs, dye, highlight your hair. And if you're like, Helga, what is this hermeneutics? Yeah, I know my dad. That's what I'm saying. I speak with my dad every single day. I know how he speaks. I know what he says. He says he's stylish. Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You are in fashion. You are in fashion. He says passion for fashion by Brads. Okay. Yeah, that's exactly the point. He would say, cut your hair, cut your nails. Yeah, they were even leaving nails. Have you noticed that people in India leave long nails, and why they do that? Yeah, because that's for religious reasons. That's why he said don't do markings on your skin. That's not tattoos. That's markings like they do in tribes in Africa, and they do it for religious reasons, not aesthetic driven reasons. They're not doing it, oh, I like this ideogram in Chinese, let's do that on my skin, or let's do a cross, let's do Tinkerbell, or let's do forever love and a heart and an angel and shit. That's not art, that's religion behind it, and he doesn't like that because that's demonic usually inspired, like nor even human tradition. They are people who are inspired by Zeus to do shit upon their body, and that's usually even painful. The person doesn't want to, he's forced to do that, and my father is against forceful shit. You get what I mean? So he would tell her, cut your nails, cut your hair. That's points to remove any marks you have on your skin from the pagan worshipping, and mourn your father because you actually left the house. You get what I mean? So, and then they become husband and wife. So the only thing he would tell Agamemnon would be stay with this girl, but tell her to do this and that, and like take care of her. Like he would say, be a tender husband, very much. He wouldn't ban him from doing that as long as he would be nice to her. And because that's why he says if you don't like her you can't take her back because you humiliated her. Do you remember when he says that? So he says that because he knows that men usually treat women like that, so he's like, no, I'm not putting up with you a second time, you will leave her the fuck alone. That's what my father says there. Okay, he loves with the passion for fashion. I don't know why you love with that. He says I am a Brad's girl. Oh my god. He says literally, oh my god. Okay.
He would offer the king gold and silver in exchange for his daughter, but Agamemnon refused the offer, taunting the old man by pointing at Chryseis chained to his bed. Apollo, disgusted at the way his priest had been treated, would send a plague of arrows upon the Greek armies, refusing to relent until Chryseis was returned home. Agamemnon, having no other choice, would agree to let her, so travelled to Agamemnon's camp. He would offer the king gold and silver in exchange for his daughter, but Agamemnon refused the offer, taunting the old man by pointing at Chryseis chained to his bed. Apollo, disgusted at the way his priest had been treated, would send a plague of arrows upon the Greek armies, refusing to relent until Chryseis was returned home. Agamemnon, having no other choice, would agree to let her go.
So this is a good equivalent of the Exodus story, and I know somebody like Francesca Stavrakopoulou would say that it is inspired by that story. No, it's not. I can prove why it is not. Listen one more time. Helga, are you trying to be thoughtful? No, I'm just eating chocolate. That's why I'm saying listen to it again. Professional YouTuber here.
And Chryseis chained to his bed. with his daughter being taken as a slave, and so travelled to Agamemnon's camp. He would offer the king gold and silver in exchange for his daughter, but Agamemnon refused the offer, taunting the old man by pointing at Chryseis chained to his bed. Apollo, disgusted at the way his priest had been treated, would send a plague of arrows upon the Greek armies, refusing to relent until Chryseis was returned home. Agamemnon, having no other choice, would agree to let her go, with Odysseus reuniting Chryseis with her father.
So, we have here a deity that is the equivalent of fucking Exodus. We have the equivalent. I don't know what is wrong with him today. He says, Helga, how dare you curse about my book? he's mocking the how's that called? Like Hecate the other day in Sarah's video had said that Sarah said that she doesn't like cursing Hecate. He because I play the game of Francesca is my dad the same as Zeus. My father is playing Zeus intentionally, and he says, "How dare you curse?" Because that's what Hecate is doing, and I don't know, like he's so hilarious. He says, "Don't I pass as a serious person?" Helga, what do you mean? Dad, you are an entire portable circus, you are not just... I don't know why he's laughing so much today. Yeah, he laughs. I don't know, he's such a funny guy. I love him so much. Anyways, what the fuck? Okay. Go here. Yeah, so well, so what was happening there was that Apollo was disgusted that the king, so King Agamemnon is the equivalent of Pharaoh of Egypt, right? So Agamemnon doesn't obey the instructions of a deity. That's what you think, right? Listen to it again. No, I'm not reading chocolate. I'm just telling you, listen again what it says, right? Listen.
As a concubine, Agamemnon would fall deeply in love with her. However, her father, a priest of Apollo, was not happy with his daughter being taken as a slave, and so travelled to Agamemnon's camp. He would offer the king gold and silver in exchange for his daughter, but Agamemnon refused the offer, taunting the old man by pointing at Chryseis chained to his bed. Apollo, disgusted at the way his priest had been treated, would send a plague of arrows upon the Greek armies, refusing...
So, can you hear what he said? He didn't say that it was instructed by Apollo. My father says, well done, Helga. Well, I noticed the details because the details show you if this is an alligator or if this is a crocodile. I'm putting back to the animals. The detail is what shows you if they are the same person or not. Because she said that it is inspired by the pagan deities, right? Apollo didn't tell Chryseis, look, go and tell the king to not like... Where the fuck is the other rabbit? Did you see it? Where the fuck is the other rabbit? So it's another one. But okay. Okay. Hugo, why are you doing like that? I don't know. Fuck you! I didn't wanna do that. Fuck. I pressed wrong button and I can't go back. Fuck my life. Okay. Okay, I give it a pass. I give it a pass. I'm actually very angry at the moment. I'm very. Can I hit him? No, I can't. Fuck. So, as I was saying, oh my god, I would have ended the fucking level, but I pressed the wrong button, and fuck my life. Okay, now you are dead, motherfucker. So what happened with Apollo is that he didn't tell the guy, look, go and tell him, let my people go, whatever. No, Crisis went there himself as the priest of Apollo. You hear that and you say it's the same thing. No, it's a different thing having a God saying to the priest. That's me, for example. That's Moses. Go to Pharaoh and tell him, let my people go. That's different than having the priest alone saying, let my daughter go. Because the one carries divine authority, the other one is just a craphead using his divine authority to justify something. And can you see how the trickster spirits work, the demons? You hear the story and you say the poor daddy just wanted the best for his daughter. Yes, that's how it reads, because this is how it is supposed to be read, because you are not supposed to believe that Agamemnon had every right to call to keep Chryseida. You are expected, like the spirits from the pagan world. My father says thank you, Helga, and bravo. Okay, thanks, Dad. Well, the spirits in the pagan world usually, when you not usually, when they are teaching you something directly, so yeah, they are not telling you to do philosophy. You get what I mean? So when they are teaching you something, they don't leave room for interpretation, and that's very alarming, because for example, this story, it's so well encapsulated, and that shows that it is actually narrated by a spirit, because usually when you have Harry Potter, for example, it has plot holes, and you say Joanne Rowling didn't write properly this and that in the story, she left a plot hole, and that's because she is a human. When the story is narrated by a spirit, the story is always encapsulated like an acrylic nail. My father says a Brad's girl. I don't know why he laughs so much today. I have no idea. So it is so well encapsulated like an acrylic nail, pretty much. My Dad, will you let me preach? I'm trying to preach. He says, so you are gonna cut your nails for Zay, you're gonna keep your nails? Yes, father, I'm gonna keep my nails. Anything else you wanna add in my channel? He says no, keep moving. He says continue. Okay. 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 I see London. You found a new tarot. Check it out at the museum. Okay. So, what I'm saying is that. Where the fuck did I go? Where the fuck are we? Where the fuck are we going? Okay, you got 10 power orbs. Used them to upgrade your heroes. Skill tree at the battle HQ. Okay. Where the fuck are we going now? No, I want to go back because I want to go back. Why am I whispering? I don't know. Yeah, the trickster spirits, they want you to believe something specifically. They don't want you to have any questions about what you say, because this is how they operate. They are very forceful. So that's what I say always about the Bible. The Bible is a little bit open. So if you want to have long hair, keep your hair. My father says thank you, Helga, and bravo again. Okay, thanks, Dad. Good thing these foreboding suits of armor aren't possessed by any evil spirits. That would be stressful. Okay. So, what I'm saying is that because in the Bible you are open, you can believe anything you want to believe. Like if you want to keep the Sabbath, keep it, if that's your inclination. If you don't, that's fine. If you want to have celebrations, keep them. If not, that's fine. If you want to like um like be veiled as a woman, that's fine. If not, that's fine. So the pagan deities don't operate like that. The pagan deities want you to conform into their manner. You can read that if you are interested. My father again says, thanks Helga, bravo Helga. Okay, Dad. So my father doesn't do that. You can't find any examples in the Bible that he says that like stop being that, start doing that. You can find the spirits doing that in the Bacchae by Euripides, where Dionysus dresses up Pentheus as a woman, and this story alone dismantles the idea that the pagan deities allow you to be a gay and a lesbian woman and a non-binary woman. My father says again, thank you Helga, bravo Helga, thank you Dad. What's going on with you? He says I am mother old. I'm mother old. Yeah, but you are non-binary. I'm a brat's girl. Oh my god. What he said? I say oh my god, and he says why what did you say? Yeah, okay, whatever. So just to recapitulate here, so the story dismantles this because Dionysus dressed him up as a woman to mock him, and then he takes him to Agave, his mother, and she kills him, right? So the story, Bacchae, read it, you will see that you have to conform with the deities when you're with the pagan deities. They are, my father says, bondage deities. Sorry, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. It's about bondage. It's not about free will at all. You don't have free will with the pagan deities. You actually are like a puppet, pretty much. You are like you are animated, but you are expected to perform like a robot what they are saying, like an AI, pretty much. So, what the difference here is about Apollo and Yahweh, pretty much, is that Apollo didn't go and say to the priest. The priest Chrysis is Moses, and Agamemnon is Pharaoh, and Apollo is Yahweh, bro, pretty much. Yeah, that's the equivalent, right? So he didn't say go and tell them let my people go. He didn't do that. He said alone. Chrysis said alone, the priest, look, I want this and that. As if peekaboos weren't bad enough, this abbey is infested by boos. I can't sense their presence. Get so close and they will chase you. Then when it is their turn, they will teleport you to another location on the battlefield. Okay. So, as I was saying, what you read there then is only the priest alone wanting his daughter back. So you hear that and you are like, he just wants the best for his daughter because she is a slave. Yeah, that's not written, however, as with the fact that Apollo didn't exactly tell his priest, go and tell the king, let my people go, let your daughter go, let my daughter go, sorry. Also, it isn't explicitly stated that slavery is something that the gods don't want to exist. So you assume because it is implied, it's not. Do you remember the law about implying something that I discussed with Life is Strange and Jefferson and Rachel in the junkyard? It's implied, it's not stated. So if it is implied, that doesn't mean that that's what it says. When you deal with a spirit, be prepared to listen what a spirit says. Spirits imply stuff sometimes, they don't say it explicitly. So there's where deception starts. So you read it and you think, okay, so Apollo didn't want slavery. Bestie, Apollo didn't even tell his priest, go and tell my king. The Greek king is the king of the gods, right? He is appointed by God. So go and tell this king, let your daughter go because that's not something I encourage. I don't like slavery. No, That's your assumption. You read it and you think that Apollo sympathizes with a slave woman and he wants her to be set free, and Agamemnon is the bad guy because he has her as a slave. My father says again, thank you, Helga, bravo, Helga. But anyway, why he's laughing so much today? Anyways, so I'm a Barbie girl. Oh my god. What did you say? Oh my god. That's what I said. Oh my god. He says, oh my god. Anyways, you read them as implications, they are not stated. So just because they aren't stated exactly as it's not stated that Apollo has to do that. Yeah, my father said again, Helga, thank you so much about that. Bravo, Helga. Okay, thanks. Well, that's the problem. That's where the issue starts, because you think that it's the same story with the Exodus. It's not, because Chrysis himself went to Agamemnon and said, I want my daughter back. Agamemnon said no. He can say no for two reasons. Primarily because he, according to the Mosaic law, he can take the girl as his wife. The only problem in that aspect, and that's not stated in the story, I'm not saying it is stated, it doesn't say that he rapes her or he abuses her, nothing like that. The story actually says that he was in love with her. Honestly, he was in love with her. So that's as romantic as it goes. You can actually make a claim there that actually Zeus doesn't like romantic love and he wants this to cease. You get what I mean? My father says again, thanks. I'm not gonna say again, my father says thanks, because I keep interrupting all the time the footage to say what he says. He says that every time I'm speaking and he laughs. Okay, so what is happening there is that where I have to go here, by the way, hold on a second. Can I go up, for example? Oh my god, a boo. Fucking boo. So what is happening there is that you read the story and there are two flaws. The first flaw is that the king can have her, because according to the law he can, of the law of Moses, but at the same time, because it is not implied as well that he abuses her, actually it says that he was in love with her, she's just his slave. That can mean anything. It can mean that he just kept her in the tent, he didn't let her go because he's still fighting. So just because she is a slave currently, that doesn't mean that he would take him home in Sparta and abuse her as a slave there, and you get what I mean? That doesn't mean anything. It just means that she is a hostage at the moment because they are all in the tent. So that doesn't, you can get as far as you want with this. It won't lead you anywhere though, because they are in the tent, in the army. They are not back home in the palace and she's actually in a stable and she's beaten and shit. You get what I mean? So you don't have any implications in the story that he actually abused her. So even from that standpoint, you can't raise a claim that she has to let him go because he's abusive. So that is declined. The fact that he can take her is verified by the Mosaic law. The third, my father says it's because it allows romantic love even in such cases. Yes, exactly, that's what I say. My father says, I know my law. yeah, that you know your law, don't you? So the story then has that the guy is a king. Agamemnon is a king. Because he's a king, he can do whatever the fuck he wants to do, and no priest has any say in what he has to do or not. The priest, according to New Testament theology, has to respect the king, give to Caesar what is to Caesar, what of God, what belongs to God, and so on. And God fear, honor the Caesar, right? That's what Paul says. So even from that aspect, he had to be respected. He's not. And crisis is actually very, if you read it like that, biblically, he's very irrelevant and very weird to go and ask his daughter back. Why do you want your daughter back? She has her husband. why should she go back if she doesn't have any issues? If he loves her, you will say here, yes, but we don't know what exactly happens in her aspect. Yes, also we don't know in the Deuteronomy, but because the Deuteronomy says to respect the woman, we assume here, because the story says that he loved her deeply, that's what it says, we assume that this is a biblical couple, so she's okay with him. So the father has no reason to go and ask her back. There's no, the Bible says that something that God unites, a man should not separate. So the fact that they are together means that they shouldn't be separated. You get what I mean? So the fact that the father goes and asks her back is actually a Zeus figure that wants to separate a couple, because Zeus in the story by Plato says that he had man and woman connected four limbs each person. So like two hands woman, two hands man, so 4 arms, and 4 other limbs, the legs, so 8 limbs in total. So 4 upper limbs, 4 lower limbs, and 2 heads, and he separated them, and from then you search for your soulmate. That's what the story says about marriage in paganism in Plato. That's Symposium, that's a book of Symposium. So that's what happens here with Christ. He becomes a Zeus figure. He wants to separate a couple. That's blasphemous for the Bible. The couple that God united, no man should ever separate, right? So that's wrong from his aspect, from his part, and he goes back, and Apollo is enraged that his priest is not respected, right? And he sends a plague. Apollo didn't say to start with, look, go and ask your daughter. No, it's implied, and just because it is implied, now you have written down that Apollo has to intervene, because the vocation, that was never any vocation. There's no vocation. That's what I'm saying. There is no explicit vocation that you should oh my god. There's no explicit vocation that you should do anything for Apollo in the story. The story has only the father going to take his daughter back. Only that. It doesn't say that it is by Apollo, it is initiated by Apollo. It only says that it is initiated by Chrysis himself. So he goes back, and now because you think he's doing that because he has vocation by Apollo, you assume that, right? Because the story implies it, pretty much. Since the story implies it, you assume that now that you read it down that Apollo is enraged, you say, okay, that was by Apollo. No, he actually just insulted the guy himself. That's not divine intervention, because Apollo didn't instruct anything. It's just implied, so you have an insane reverence for every priest that exists out there, even if they are false priests, even if they say weird stuff, because what Christ does is weird. So in order to respect every priest out there, every figure of authority, pretty much, Zeus says, look, even if there is no direct vocation, respect them and do what they say, respect their crap, you get what I mean? So now he sends a plague, and the plague that he sends them to everybody on the army, not only to Agamemnon, who he has problems with Agamemnon. Let's say Agamemnon is on the fault, he's not, but let's say he doesn't send it only to Agamemnon, he sends it to everybody, which is not something that happened in Exodus. In Exodus, whoever Egyptian obeyed Yahweh, he was spared. Yahweh said, whoever takes the animal from the field, the animal will not be killed. If you go and put blood on your door, I'm not gonna take your firstborn. So that goes for everybody. So if somebody does that, they are spared. No, Apollo sends it to everybody without any explanation, without warning, or explanation, anything like I'm doing this because this and that, or I warn you, if you don't do that, I will do that. And he also doesn't say, look, if you obey this, I will spare you, as Yahweh said. So no, he does that universally to everybody without exception, without a warning. And that's what happens with the plague of Apollo, because he's the god of light and the god of the plagues at the same time, and he's also the god of the divination. He's god of many things. Anyways, so god of the sun and so on. That's the difference with the Bible. In the Bible, you have warnings, you have direct vocation. You don't have insane demands. For example, my father said, let my people go. The people were slaves. He said, let the slaves go because they are slaves. My father says, thank you. I said, I'm not going to say that again, but my father is doing that and he's laughing again. So the story in Iliad is about a slave woman, but it's not about her slavery. It's not about her being a slave, it's about her father taking her back from her husband. It's not the same as the slaves being slaves in Egypt. There is no covenantal love, or romantic love, erotic love and shit relationships in Egypt. It's just slaves being oppressed by an oppressive country. And pretty much Yahweh saying, let my people go because they are slaves. This doesn't exist in the Iliad, so there is nothing to point that Yahweh is the same deity as the same person that calls his name as Apollo, Zeus in the Iliad. Yes, they have very striking similarities. They are very, very, very close to each other, like twins pretty much, but you can see the one is an alligator. My father, the crocodile is actually Zeus. They look like they're practically the same. They are reptiles. They're like animals that live in the water pretty much. Like water, like hybrids live in water, live in land. You get what I mean? But at the same time, you can see that some tiny details that define the outcome and the choices in the story that shows that actually it's not the same deity, it's actually another person that is behind the story. And it's not that it's inspired, like, okay, I like the story, let's make a different version in Greece, and like I have the English version of the song, let's have it in Greek. No, it's not, because these tiny details show that it's actually inspired by a guy, a doppelganger as I called him in my dissertation, that actually tries to mimic how my father speaks, and he's quite close with it. But because we are in the Old Testament times here, the story, yes, it's very close, but at the same time you can see that it differentiates in the matter of you have many gods, here you have only one god. Here you have Moses, here you have Apollo, you have Agamemnon, you have Chrysis, you have Troy, you have beasts and shit. If that was New Testament, it would use directly the imaginary of the Old Testament and the New Testament, but it would have undertones and flavor from paganism, not exactly different frame theologically, like Apollo, the son of Zeus. No, you would have Jesus doing that, and you will find tiny differences only on the under the surface, under the sea, because he behaves like a parasite during the New Testament times, and during the Old Testament times he was behaving like himself, like Voldemort before he lost his body because of Lily Potter pretty much. But after that he is relying only on the Horcruxes, so he doesn't have a body and he needs a Quirrell to sustain him pretty much, and unicorn blood and shit. That's what I'm saying. Okay, let's continue.
To relent until Chryseis was returned home. Agamemnon, having no other choice, would agree to let her go, with Odysseus reuniting Chryseis with her father. But with his concubine now gone, Agamemnon would look to satisfy his desires, turning to Briseis, the slave girl of Achilles. If he would have to go without his prize, then so too would his greatest warrior. Stealing her from his tent, Agamemnon would declare Briseis his own, with Achilles becoming enraged. Demanding her return, Achilles would only be laughed at by the king, causing him to draw his sword in frustration. But as he did so, the goddess Athena would descend from the heavens, holding his arm in place, and warning against such an impulsive action. Heeding the god's advice, Achilles would put down his sword, refusing.
What a stupid story, honestly. Like, I hear it and I feel like crying. I feel like I wanna say, Dad, save me. I'm like, I hate it so much that what I'm hearing, I'm trying to explain for everybody that watches, for you, because I have opened my third eye. What I hear is so demonic in my ears. I can't begin to explain it. Like, everything from starting point to ending, it just sounds disgusting and horrible in my ears. Like, I can't find anything good with it. I just want to take it all and cast it into the fire. I can't find anything good. My father says cast into the fire, destroy it. No. He says Isildur. Well, I hate it because it's I don't know how to describe. I honestly don't know how to describe it. I just hear many things in the story that I don't know. I don't know, brother. I really don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's like the guy didn't have a girl. Now he took the other guy's girl story in the story. The other guy got enraged. He almost killed him. Athena intervened. Like, it seems like it is written by such a horrible person, all this story. Like, from a person that just tries to make the story all the most abominable and horrible that he can. Like, he's trying to do it like the worst case scenario that he can fabricate, the worst nightmare. He's trying to make it into existence. Like, you think, like, I think the story like I am a storyteller. My father says thank you for what you say, I appreciate it. Yeah, that's just my truth. I like, you can say, for example, okay, he returned her, but then he tried to take her back, or he sacrificed to Apollo, and Apollo said, okay, take her back because I can see that you actually obey me. No, they make it even worse. They actually decide to remove the girlfriend of Achilles from him, just to twist the knife in the wound. Like, as a writer, as an author myself, the guy, I don't know who wrote it. The guy that wrote the story must be a psychopath in my ears. Like, not only a mystic, but a psychopath. Like, I would be scared to be around him. Like, I would be like, what the fuck? What are you doing with your life? Like, why are you writing so shitty stories? Like, that story is a creepypasta. My father says, seriously, this is how you hear it. Yes, I sounds like a creepypasta to me, because you know you can make it better, and they make it even worse, and that's intentional. That's not because they can't fabricate anything better. They just want intentionally to make it worse. My father, I'm trying not to cry, he started singing the song of the 12 princesses. It says, you are dancing in the skies and the stars are dancing with you. It's a song by Paparizou. He was singing it to me when I was a kid. And it meant that the girls couldn't wear grey because Rowena wanted them to wear grey. They wore colors. They were all 12 princesses. They are the daughters of Jacob. They are the nations of the earth. And they wear, each girl is different. She has a different hair color, like different chosen hobby. Like Blair does horse riding. I forgot their names. Courtney is reading books. Genevieve is actually the most pretty. Fallon is romantic. She reads romantic literature. each one loves a different color, pink, purple, red, and so on. And the king in the end says each of you is a very beautiful, wonderful princess, and you will do marvelous things with your own way, exactly as your mother said. And that's exactly what I say about my dad. Like, you can't see this in the story, this story, the Iliad. It's, I don't know, like, abomination is the only way I can describe what I'm hearing. Like, all this crap about returning a girl by a plague, but after a plague to her father, then the guy wants another girl, he takes it from, what is this? And you hear it and you say, this can happen. Yeah, definitely it can happen. Also the part where Apollo, a false deity, can send a plague, and the part where Poseidon has a sea snake and my father is laughing, Zeus has sex with Hera in Crete, two deities have sex, what the fuck? Also these things don't happen, but where do you focus? On the human side, you say no, these things can happen. Yeah, exactly. Also you can have deities have sex, and you can have monsters, and you can have Achilles is also a demigod. Yeah, demigods exist as well. Did you know that? Did you know another story? Loch Ness monster is a real thing. You know that? I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to deal with it. Like, you hear that's fairy tale. Yeah, so is this crap. If you think the 12 Princesses by Barbie is a fairy tale, that's also a fairy tale, bestie. The Iliad, but you get what I mean. The Iliad is a horrible fairy tale, and I have no idea who the fuck would listen to it and not have their guts twisted inside of them of how horrible it is. I hate it. I always hated it since I was a teen. Since I was an emo teen, I was ignoring the fuck out of it. I am 24. I am 10 years older. Back then I was in my rebellious teenager phase. I was ignoring intentionally. I was speaking very aggressively. I am 24. I have other knowledge, I have other experience, I'm more wise because of age, because of my spirituality. I'm still the same person. I still say this, I hate the story, that's all I'm gonna say. 10 years apart, I haven't changed, I'm the same person. My father says you weren't rebellious, you just hated what you were hearing. Yeah, I hate it. That's all. But now I can intellectualize it and say, like, I hate it because of this and that. Like, when I was a kid, I couldn't put my finger what the fuck is actually that I hate. Today I can actually explain with reasoning why I hate it. What is actually my problem? You get what I mean? So, fuck. Every day I say I won't cry, but every day I cry. Okay, let's continue.
Heeding the god's advice, Achilles would put down his sword, refusing to serve a king that had treated him with such disrespect. Returning to his tent, the Greek armies would have to fight on without his assistance. For a time, the Greeks would manage to fight on without Achilles, although the losses on both sides would begin to take their toll. In an attempt to end the war with no further bloodshed, both of Helen's lovers, Paris and Menelaus, would agree to duel, with the victor being declared her true husband. With both arms,
they are not lovers. Her husband is Menelaus, Paris is her lover, so that's quite wrong to say, but I get why they say it, because in some versions they say that she also married Paris. Some other version says that she was in love with Menelaus and she was about to marry him. There are many, I've seen many things about the story, so I'm not gonna be legalistic about that. I've seen a lot being said. I had read a version where she had married like Paris, so in order to be separated from him, she had to actually he had actually to die pretty much. As I can see, the guy that is making this video actually goes to the very end of the, fuck my life, they moved me. Okay, so I will put, if there is something like that, so give me only a moment. Fuck my life. So I will see if there is something about, I will ask if there is something about, like, short one about like the Zeus, is there anything about oh, you know what, I can put a Greek guy. He speaks Greek. But let's break a little bit Greece here in the story. So obviously I'm gonna translate, so you will hear it. You will hear it in Greek. But when he finishes talking, I will translate. I won't make the video much longer. Probably, if you would like, I can also put the video and explain what he says for English listeners. Yes, I refer to you. Okay, so I can put you what he says. So this is the guy. I used his videos. That's the guy. He's a Greek guy. He's an archaeologist. He also, I had texted him and I had asked him when I was writing my dissertation. His name is Konstantinos. I told him if he has any books to suggest me for my dissertation. He asked me, like, yeah, this YouTuber, yeah, I asked him what he asked me what I am doing, and I explained the topic, and he gave me some of the books that I actually read for my dissertation. You can find them in my bibliography. I don't remember the titles, but some of them, I think 4 or 5 of them, were his suggestions about the epics. I asked him, can you suggest me scholar stuff about the epics, because you are an archaeologist, and he gave me, because he is passionate about mythology, he gave me some titles, and he said you can work with them, they are okay for a dissertation, so they are not like popular and shit, you know. And because I asked him, I don't want popular, I want something deeper, if you can find me, and he helped me. Thank you guy, by the way. Constantine, that's your name, right? Thanks for that, by the way. I haven't given proper credit, so I'm glad I'm doing that in my channel. He helped me with my dissertation about that. He gave me books, right? So I was listening to his podcast, and usually I was doing my nails, and I was listening to the story to remember what it was about, because I had to listen to it since I was 13, 12 and 13. 12 I did Odyssey, 13 I was doing Iliad. So I was listening to the footage, like the podcast pretty much, and I was dissecting what I will use for my dissertation and what passages, like I didn't use the video, I used the passages. So he is doing every book of Iliad, like the Iliad has 24 books. He has, each book is 10-minute video summary in a very enjoyable, entertaining way to learn what exactly is going on. And I like how he says the stuff, because the story is horrible for me, but I really love his channel, and he's very good in his job. He's very respectful and shit. I think he's an agnostic in religion, if you ask me, but that's irrelevant. I'm just explaining. So he said the stories, and I was hearing, and I said, okay, so that book, this and that, I will use them in my dissertation. I will go in the original Homeric poem and I will read them and I will use them. But I was hearing him and I was doing my nails when I was doing my research. Yeah, multitasking, playing Mario and doing theology. Yeah. So yeah, I can actually, because he's doing it very enjoyable, I can actually put his videos. He's speaking Greek, obviously. I can let him, because that's a Greek poem, maybe that's another thing we can do. He can speak, I can explain what he talks about.
Να δείτε, ο Αγαμέμνονας στέλνει 2 κήρυκες για να πάρουν τη Βρυσίδα μακριά.
Okay.
Πώς πιστεύετε ότι αντέδρασε ο γενναιότερος όλων των αρχαιών?
So now he says that it's the first book. He says that Agamemnon sent his people to steal breezes from the tent of Achilles. I can let it speak like here, like this, and let it speak, let him speak. I can hear him. Obviously he will speak Greek, but when I will have heard enough, I can translate exactly what he said. Yeah, not exactly like word for word, like every single sentence, but I can hear him and I can say he said this and that without missing any detail. Obviously I'm not gonna say I will remove stuff from what he said. I'm gonna say everything, but just in my own vocabulary, but what exactly he says, right? But not legalistically what he says. That's what I say.
Δολοφόνησε τους δύο κήρυκες, το έσκασε μαζί με την κοπέλα, δεν έκανε τίποτα. Την άφησε να πάει στον Αγαμέμνονα και πήγε να απολαύσει την ακρογιαλιά. Εκεί που έσκαγε το κύμα, εμφανίστηκε μπροστά του η μητέρα του Ιθέτης.
Okay.
Ξέρετε.
So he says that Achilles saw that Agamemnon said his people to take the girl. He didn't do anything. He said, did he stop them? Did he attack them? No, nothing. He went to the beach to enjoy the beach. As I said, he's doing it enjoyable. He says funnily here that he went there to enjoy the beach like a Greek guy with coffee, and he saw his mother Thetis, and who was married in the previous. She did nothing. Yeah. Yeah. So he went to the beach, and then his mother Thetis appeared. The woman that was married in the previous episode. Yeah, he spoke in the previous episode. That's not a book of the Iliad. He spoke about the background, which, as I said, is not included in the canon of not canon. The book of the Iliad. It's oral tradition that is outside of the Homeric poem, but every Greek knows it, and yes, it is very much canon. It's just not written down in Iliad itself. Okay, so that's what he did in the other video. I can do that as well another day, whatever comes to my mind. Okay.
Μπροστά του η μητέρα του Ιθέτης.
Okay.
Ξέρετε, εκείνη που παντρευόταν στο προηγούμενο επεισόδιο. Λοιπόν, σαν καλό παιδί ο Αχιλλέας παραπονιέται στη μαμά του για τον άδικο τρόπο που του φέρεται ο Αγαμέμνονας.
So Achilles, he says, because he's a very good boy, he complains to his mama that Agamemnon stole his girlfriend and says the story, right?
Ξέρετε,
Yeah.
εκείνη που παντρευόταν στο προηγούμενο επεισόδιο. Λοιπόν, σαν καλό παιδί ο Αχιλλέας παραπονιέται στη μαμά του για τον άδικο τρόπο που του φέρεται ο Αγαμέμνονας και της διηγείται τα
And he tells her the facts
όλα καλά, όλα
that he lost her the girlfriend, right?
ωραία μέχρι εδώ. Όμως ο Αχιλλέας δεν σταμάτησε στη διήγηση. Ζήτησε από τη μητέρα του να παρακαλέσει τον Δία να βοηθήσει τους Τρόες στη μάχη.
So he says that Achilles complained, but he didn't end the discussion there with his mother. He actually begged her, go and tell Zeus to do something with Agamemnon. Please tell him to punish the Trojans, so the Achaeans, aka the Greeks, will lose and they will come begging him to go back in the battle. Didn't he say, the British guy, that the army of Achilles and Achilles himself didn't go to the battle? Like he had the most important and most powerful army in the Greek army. He had come with his own army, Agamemnon with his own people, Odysseus with his own, and so on. So he was the most powerful. He refrained. So and inevitably the Greeks are losing now that they don't have him. Okay, so he says, go to Zeus and tell him what the issue is. Tell him to make them beg me to come back because they stole my girlfriend from me. Yeah, mature reaction, right?
Οι Αχαίοι να χάσουν και να έρθουν να τον παρακαλέσουν να επιστρέψει. Ναι, καλά το καταλάβατε.
Yeah.
Ο Αχιλλέας, προκειμένου να διαφυλάξει τον εγωισμό του, παρακάλεσε τον Δία να βοηθήσει τους ίδιους του τους εχθρούς.
Because, yeah, he said that's all right what you heard. Just because Achilles is an egopath, an egoist, he is capable of losing, he letting his people lose and letting his enemies win just to be an arrogant man himself. And he begs Zeus to do that. Yeah, pathetic. It's pathetic for Greek understanding. We are modern Greeks, and for ancient standards, that would be normal for Greece. Wisdom. That would be normal. Like, that's honor and legacy. You have to keep your legacy and your honor. Today, that's pathetic for a modern Greek, because today we are not pagans, we are Christians. And we see stuff differently. Yes, even this guy is an agnostic, as far as I know. I think he had said in a video that he's an agnostic, but that doesn't matter. He's raised in a Christian country, he's a Greek guy, he's born and raised in the same society as me. It doesn't matter if he's religious or not, because he has taken the culture, and for our culture, for our understanding, this behavior is morally, like, horrible. It's unethical what Achilles is doing. So that's why this guy disagrees word for word with what he's doing. It doesn't have to do with religion at the end of the day. It has to do with culture. Like, religion influences how you see the world, and the fact that this guy would let his own people for selfish reasons. Selfishness is something that is discouraged in Christianity. Even an atheist and an agnostic in Greece would agree with that, because that's something embedded in our culture. That's what I mean. Could that gramophone over there be the one that relics of goodness? Okay. Let's continue.
Να δείτε που σε όλο το podcast με αυτό θα ασχολούμαστε. Με τα νεύρα του Αχιλλέα.
He's such a clever guy, by the way. He says, you will see that in the entire podcast we will only speak about this, the nerves of Achilles, the wrath of Achilles, because Minis to Achilleos, the wrath of Achilles, is the topic of the Iliad. Like, that's the problem. Like, in Cassia's story, the problem is that there is invasion of privacy. That's the topic of the novel. What is the topic of Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter? Good and evil. What is the topic of the metamorphosis of Kafka? I guess self-identity. What is the problem? What is the problem in Iliad? The wrath of Achilles. The wrath of Achilles. Nevra του Achillea, Minis του Achillea in ancient Greek is Minis Achilleos. Modern Greek is τα νεύρα του Achillea. Right? So he's a very clever guy, that's what I say. I thought I saw a matching gold pedestal somewhere, but where? They must be connected somehow. I like that. Let's keep it. Probably I will use that as my fucking screenshot for my thumbnail. Okay. So I'm gonna finish the video very soon. I'm not gonna film for much longer. So that's 3 minutes to go, right? Let's grab the gramophone and get out of here. This place sends shivers down my theoretical spine. He doesn't have a spine because he's a robot, right? Hold on a second. I'm not gonna edit this out, but I'm drinking coffee. Okay.
Με τα νεύρα του Αχιλλέα. Η Θέτης φυσικά δέχεται να βοηθήσει το γιο της, όμως τον πληροφορεί ότι ίσως αργήσει λίγο, διότι οι Θέοι του
Let's hope that stays put. We have enough problems as it is. Okay.
που είχαν πεταχτεί μέχρι την Αιθιοπία.
Sorry.
Με τα νεύρα του Αχιλλέα. Η Θέτης φυσικά δέχεται να βοηθήσει το γιο της, όμως τον πληροφορεί ότι ίσως αργήσει λίγο, διότι οι Θέοι του Ολύμπου είχαν πεταχτεί μέχρι την Αιθιοπία.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, so we take this and we take it. So he says that Thetis told Achilles that the gods of the Olympus have gone to their cousins in Ethiopia. Welcome to Greek logic. Okay. Yeah, that's why we say that the gods are the same people that we say in our traditions, that we say that Ra is actually Apollo and shit, and we have them as equivalents. That's the reason, because we say, for example, here they say that the gods have gone to Ethiopia, so the gods of Ethiopia is actually the Greek gods. You get what I mean? That's why we say. So if you ask these guys down there, like the civilization, like if you go to Ethiopians, Egyptians, they say, yeah, we have the same deities. We had the same deities before Christianity, Islam, and so on. You get what I mean?
Μόλις γύριζαν θα του μιλούσε.
When they would return, she would be talking to them.
Εν τω μεταξύ, η Χρυσίδα επιστρέφει στον πατέρα της και αυτός, ευχαριστημένος από την εξέλιξη των πραγμάτων, παρακαλεί τον Απόλλωνα να τερματίσει τον φοβερό λοιμό που τρώει τους Αχαιούς, όπως και γίνεται.
So, what I'm talking, where is my Greek? Χρυσίδα, the girl, she returns to her dad. Her dad goes to Apollo, he says, and Apollo learns that she's back. She didn't come back, right? And Apollo stops the plague because Chrysis, his priest, says, I have my daughter, stop plaguing the Greeks. And Apollo listens to his priest. Okay?
Πλέον, χωρίς λοιμό, οι Αχαιοί είναι πανέτοιμοι να επιστρέψουν στον πόλεμο. Όμως, κάποιος λείπει από τις συνελεύσεις και τη μάχη. Ναι, καλά το καταλάβατε, ο Αχιλλέας, ο οποίος...
So, he says that the Greeks, now that they are not plagued, they are able to go back to fighting for Helen, pretty much, in Troy, and they do a council how to attack, and the only guy that misses from the council, who is exactly Achilles, is not present because he's absent from the battle, right?
Περιμένει να μπει σε εφαρμογή το σχέδιο της εκδίκησής του. Οι Θεοί γυρνούν από τις σύντομες διακοπές τους στην Αιθιοπία και η Θέα της ξεκινά για να...
Hiaga, you don't understand Greek? Yeah, sometimes my mind wanders and I think something that I want to say and I forget what I'm hearing, right?
Ο οποίος περιμένει να μπει σε εφαρμογή το σχέδιο της εκδίκησής του.
Okay, so he is absent because he waits for his retaliation plan to start coming into existence, right?
Οι Θεοί γυρνούν από τις σύντομες διακοπές. Όμως κάποιος λείπει από τις συνελεύσεις και τη μάχη. Ναι, καλά το καταλάβατε, ο Αχιλλέας, ο οποίος περιμένει να μπει σε εφαρμογή το σχέδιο της εκδίκησής του. Οι Θεοί γυρνούν από τις σύντομες διακοπές του στην Αιθιοπία και η Θέα της ξεκινά για να συναντήσει τον Δία, με τον οποίο είχε και μια προϊστορία. Εξηγεί στον πατέρα.
So he says that I think I forget details here. I'm getting tired, didn't I say so?
Όμως κάποιος λείπει από τις συνελεύσεις και τη μάχη. Ναι, καλά το καταλάβατε, ο Αχιλλέας, ο οποίος περιμένει να μπει σε εφαρμογή το σχέδιο της εκδίκησής του.
Yeah.
Οι Θεοί γυρνούν από τις σύντομες διακοπές του στην Αιθιοπία και η Θέα της ξεκινά για να συναντήσει τον Δία, με τον οποίο είχε και μια προϊστορία.
So he says that the gods return from Ethiopia from their cousins and she, Thetis, is going to meet Zeus, with whom she has prehistory. That's what he said. I will translate. When you say I have prehistory with somebody, it means you had an affair with them. Έχω προϊστορία. I had history, you can say in English, but I'm explaining how we say it in Greek. In Greek we say prehistory, προϊστορία. That means you had this guy or this girl as girlfriend, boyfriend, and etc. etc. Hot start, cold finish. You found a new soundtrack. Check it out at the museum. And this is very valid because Zeus was actually the boyfriend of Thetis in some of the myths, and this is why she goes to beg him, because in Greek understanding you have to have a connection with the deity to go and ask them for something. And if you are like, yes Helga, but if you have an ex-boyfriend, will you go and ask them a favor? I'm asking you favors and you are also my ex-boyfriend. My father is laughing with that, okay? So don't fret with that. Spooky Ziggy, you found a new 3D model. Check it out at the museum. Okay.
Εξηγεί στον πατέρα των Θεών ότι ο γιος της βιώνει μια τρομερή αδικία η οποία πρέπει να λάβει τέλος.
Okay. Spooky Ziggy, you found a new artwork. Check it out at the museum. Okay. So he says that, let's listen it again because...
Συναντήσει τον Δία, με τον οποίο είχε και μια προϊστορία. Εξηγεί στον πατέρα των θεών ότι ο γιος της βιώνει μια τρομερή αδικία η οποία πρέπει να λάβει τέλος.
So he tells the father of gods that her son is going through an enormous how's that called, unfairness that has to end. That's what she says to Zeus. What she says to Zeus. Where the fuck am I going, by the way? I have no idea where the fuck am I going. Like, that's my problem at the moment. Like, I wanna play, I don't know where the fuck am I going.
Του ζητά ξεκάθαρα να βοηθήσει τους Τρώες. Ο Δίας το σκέφτεται.
Okay, so he says that she asks Zeus to help the Trojans directly. Like she didn't stop and think of it how to say it. She directly asked Zeus to help the Trojans. So she went there and told him, as I said, you have to have a connection with a deity to do anything in Greece. So in biblical terms, you don't have to have any connection with Yahweh to ask him something. If you are like away from him and you suddenly are like, okay, I want to ask something from Yahweh. Now, yeah, you can go. He's your dad. He's not gonna say, but you are not with me, but you are a witch, but you are a Satanist, you are an agnostic. So no, you can ask him for stuff whenever, wherever, however, whatever. My father says, thank you, Helga. Welcome, Dad. Aha, we're clearly on the right track. Let's see what our fairy godmother has to say. He. Okay. Good job. You found one of the relics. Hopefully it was extremely unpleasant. Unpleasant for your enemies, I mean. The second relic of goodness will involve a long and perilous journey during which you will probably meet a grisly end. Have fun. Yeah. Well, I certainly hope this Tom fun person is worth the trouble. Still, if there is even a chance he can help us defeat Bowser Jr. and rescue Spawny, we've got to take it. I die. Anyways, we can continue now. So, in pagan terms, you can never contact a deity that's mystical. That's part of mysticism, as I say. You have to have a contact with a deity. You have to have good connections with a deity. Nepo baby, pretty much. Nepo baby. My father loves Nepo baby. He says we are capitalists, we are Hebrews, and we don't need to be Nepo babies because we work hard, we make money, and we climb up in the social structure with the help of the invisible heart of the economy. I die. My dad, I don't know, my dad is such a funny person. I love that. Oh my god, here we go again. Oh, Northern again. Guys, you won't believe what happened. Todd wandered off, you got separated, now you need us to help him find him again. Nope. We were playing hide and seek and then we got separated. This used to be a great place for the kind of stuff. Spooky, but not so spooky if you catch my meaning. But now, you know we are heroes. It's not like we don't have quests and things. Oh, I don't want to be a bother. Couldn't I just tag along and look for him myself? I'm sorry, we're simply too busy right now to... I'll give you whatever is in the treasure chest I found. What if it's just an old boot and a rusty telescope or something? Oh, don't you think? Well, I'll still let you have it if you help me find Todd. Sigh. Okay. Benefits of getting lost. Yeah, definitely. That's such a funny thing, isn't it? Yeah, let's continue.
Ξέρει ότι οι θεοί δεν πρέπει να επεμβαίνουν τόσο δραστικά και τόσο φανερά σε αυτόν τον πόλεμο, αλλά η Θέτης είχε δίκιο. Ο Αχιλλέας είχε αδικηθεί.
He knows that the gods mustn't intervene so personally. How did he say it?
Ξέρει ότι οι θεοί δεν πρέπει να επεμβαίνουν τόσο δραστικά και τόσο φανερά σε αυτόν τον πόλεμο.
He knows that the deities should never involve themselves directly so drastically, he says, and visibly in the war. That's the personal attributes that the pagan deities have, so Yahweh will say, yes, I want you to be with this guy, and Zeus would never do that. He wouldn't care because that's part of his impersonal attributes, needs, aloe. You found a new tarot, check it out at the museum. Okay.
Αλλά η Θέτης είχε δίκιο. Ο Αχιλλέας είχε αδικηθεί.
But Thetis is right that her son was wronged heavily. Okay, so escort to a death. That's the last part that I'm gonna play.
Μετά από ώριμη σκέψη, ο Δίας αποφασίζει. Θα βοηθήσει τους Τρώες. Οι δύσκολες συναντήσεις όμως δεν είχαν τελειώσει για τον Δία.
So he says that Zeus then takes the decision to help Achilles, and he will help the Trojans win the war, but his difficult encounters don't end there. When he entered his palace, he said,
και στο παλάτι του η Ήρα τον πλησίασε και άρχισε να τον ρωτά επίμονα για να μάθει τι ήθελε η Θέτης από αυτόν. Ο Δίας της απαντά ότι δεν επρόκειτο για τίποτα σημαντικό, αλλά για κάποιο περίεργο λόγο η Ήρα δεν πείθεται. Λες και ο Δίας είχε δώσει δικαιώματα για να μην τον εμπιστεύεται.
So it says that Hera, his wife, entered the house and the palace, and she told her husband, what did you discuss, who was here, with whom were you talking, what happened, and she didn't know. And Zeus didn't tell her exactly what is happening. He told her, like, I discussed something with somebody, but nothing important, nothing to be concerned about, nothing serious, don't worry. That's what he said. And Hera didn't believe him, and he says funnily, as if Zeus had given her a reason not to trust her, that he's not trustworthy, meaning that Hera suspected maybe he's speaking with one of his girlfriends, pretty much, because they also always had these issues with the infidelity and shit. You get what I mean?
Αυξάνει την πίεση με τις ερωτήσεις της και ο Δίας εξοργίζεται αρχίζοντας τις απειλές. Ήξερε ότι...
So she continues asking, and she becomes very, like, she insists, and she becomes, so where I'm gonna go? I'm going here, okay. Okay, so that's a very big level. Let's see if I will be able to finish it. The So yeah, I will not play the entire thing. I will leave that. But yeah, because it's a big battle. But yeah, what it says is that Hera insisted with her questions, and Zeus started getting angered with her reaction, and he started threatening her. Yep.
Δεν υπήρχε περίπτωση να την αποφύγει, οπότε είπε να το ξεκόψει με όποιον τρόπο μπορούσε. Μετά την οργή του Δία, την αμηχανία και την παγωμάρα στο παλάτι έσπασε ο Ύφαιστος, ο οποίος συμβούλεψε τη μητέρα του, την Ήρα, να μην τα βάζει με τον Δία, διότι την τελευταία φορά που ο ίδιος είχε προσπαθήσει να την υποστηρίξει απέναντι στον πατέρα του, ο Δίας τον είχε πιάσει και τον είχε εξφενδονήσει μακριά από τον Όλυμπο. Μόλις θυμήθηκαν την ιστορία αυτή, οι θεοί άρχισαν να γελάνε και κάπως έτσι το βράδυ πέρασε. Πώς θα βοηθήσει ο Δίας τους Τρώες?
So it says that she was upset and they fought, and then Zeus wanted to get rid of her with some way, and Hephaestus, their son, said to his mother Hera that, look, the previous time that you discussed something with my dad and I defended you, he actually threw me away from the palace outside of Olympus. Yeah, Zeus is a very good guy. They laughed with the story and they went to bed. Basically, that's what it says. This is how the first book ends. And here is where I'm gonna finish the video because I'm actually very tired, and I'm gonna continue again with this part of the story because this story actually continues with the next book. I'm gonna discuss this tomorrow in my next video. hope you enjoyed so far. So I'm not gonna explain in details all this because it will connect with the video tomorrow. So this is the teaser for tomorrow, right? So hope you enjoyed, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.